task today is to do two particular things: to present the missions budget and also present a report on my recent India campaign. And the missions budget is on a PowerPoint. There we go. And the India report is on a DVD. And so we'll try to work with both of those. I thank all of you so much for putting up with me, and for your prayers, and for your generous, generous help. You're so helpful to us in the budget. We had difficulty in some ways last year, and you came through for us, and we thank you so very, very much. We want to continue to pray for Rick Johnson. He's, I believe, back in the States now, but he's not back with us until April 28th, I think. And so we hope that we will get to see him at that time. And Susie and I hope to see him in Florence, Alabama at the India Evangelism Workshop. Some years ago, I got tattoos for radiation treatment. You know, they give you a little bitty tattoo in a couple of three places in order to align the things that they're going to use for radiation on the side of my face over here. Well, last Friday, I got my ear pierced. It was on the inside, though, not on the lobe. It's on the eardrum. I had a little trouble with some congestion that got in my ear, and it's been there on the left ear for about 3 weeks or so. And if I can't hear you talking, it's because it's still bothering me some, but they did do that procedure Friday, and it has improved some. I'd appreciate your prayers for that. I have various things more going on in my health than in previous years, and I've decided it's early onset old age. That's the diagnosis. So we appreciate your consideration. We all are so blessed, even with whatever little things are going on. We're so very, very blessed. Want to present the missions budget as fast as we can and have time to get the other done as well. And so I'm going to try to work with this here. Pardon me for being kind of clumsy with it. We have a missions budget of had a mission budget of $52,200 last year, and we were coming up some short in the fall, and we asked for some special help, and you gave and got us through in a good way, a wonderful way. We were not able to do the special one-time gifts in the amounts that we'd like to have done. $5,000 was budgeted for that, but we were able to provide $2,000 because you did exceed the somewhat of emergency need, and so we provided some one-time gifts, and this was decided at the end of the fiscal year, last Wednesday night. And so again this year we're helping Willie Alvarenga, this time $800 as a one-time gift, and he's the director of the Spanish work at Brown Trail School of Preaching, and also we're sending $500 again to Gospel Chariots in Africa. They do such wonderful work, taking the gospel out in trucks, in big semis, and also smaller vehicles. And then Jim Smith's campaigns, $300 as a one-time gift. This time we want to help Andrew Adams in China, $200 gift. And then Jose Diaz, one of our own, goes to Mexico, and so we've decided to include him in a one-time gift. It's a small amount compared to the cost, but $200. And so we appreciate you being partners with him in that work. And so we have a total of $2,000 that was given in one-time gifts, above our absolute necessities. We want to look at the 2014 fiscal year now. It begins April 1st and goes through March 2015. The 2014 budget includes a $50 a month salary increase for T. Jalam in India. He'll be featured in the video. And a $50 a month increase in his work fund. Also, there's been a small cutback in the funding for me for my salary, but that's only part of my salary. It doesn't mean I'm getting less in salary. That'll be made up through India Evangelism Funds, which is separate fundraising that we do. And India Evangelism was also kept at the same this year, but International Gospel Teacher was cut back some. We're doing less printing and mailing and doing more on the internet. World Bible School, we made a mistake perhaps on that one because we were thinking at the time that World Bible School was going to come in farther under budget. But they came within about $127 reaching the cost of $4,000 for the year. And so we probably are going to have to use some of the one-time gift money to take care of that, but we don't want to leave them hanging. We have decided at the present time to discontinue funding on a monthly basis in search of the Lord's way. Individuals, of course, can continue that. It's a wonderful work. And we didn't budget anything for special one-time gifts, but anything given over our budget, we will, at the end of the fiscal year, then apply to one-time gifts. And then we reduce the guest speakers amount. We didn't use it last year, but perhaps, and I hope we would this year, have a guest speaker come in and talk about missions. And then we decided to include Rick Johnson this year. He has, as you know, just recently gone full-time and independent. We were going together for a while, and then we worked on a way for him to have his own fundraising and handling of his funds and separate work, but we still work together. We still encourage and cooperate with one another. And so just $200 a month at this time. And of course, people individually sometimes help India Evangelism, our trips and his. And so we really appreciate you for that. So the yearly budget this time is $47,400 for missions. We want to thank you again for teaching and helping many souls in the USA and distant lands. World Bible School does so much in Africa and many other places. And International Gospel Teacher through the web, through the internet, is reaching many places, and we hope to do more of the mailing as well. At this time now, we will need to start the DVD and have the report on the India trip this time. This is a report on the winter 2014 India campaign. I departed for India on January 27th and landed in Chennai on January 28th. By the grace of God, during the winter 2014 campaign, 52 precious souls were baptized into Christ. I presented 88 lessons in 54 different places. Through the help of many generous Christians, I provided $2,463 for food and other costs for 8 Bible schools and 5 of the village meetings. And $9,350 was provided in one-time gifts for 106 preachers. We had extra funds given in memory of Charles Scott, which enabled us to provide 3,539 Bibles in 3 languages for India. With funds Charles Scott had received, we provided $4,000 for 4,000 New Testaments and 4,000 tracts written by Charles and translated into the Telugu language, along with $3,480 for 4,000 testaments and tracts in the Oriya language. We opened 6 buildings without walls, which had been started on earlier trips. $1,000 was provided to help cyclone victims in Orissa State, and another $1,579 in benevolence to help other people, plus $964 to help 29 widows.
This is Anna Purnama. She's a member of the Church of Christ here in Pedana, where Brother Chandra Mohan preaches, and she has received a gift today from Haskell Dotson. Would you like to say something to the giver of the gift?
Thanks, Sanjay.
Johnson.
Yeah. All right.
Shortly after I landed in India, I flew to Raipur in Chhattisgarh state. This was my first time to visit Raipur and Brother Anand Kumar in that city. On Saturday, Brother Anand Kumar took me to Jagdishpur, where his brother Suresh Kumar preaches. The first floor of this building is Anand Kumar's home in Raipur, and the church meets on the second floor. Anand Kumar is standing to my left in this photo. I flew back to Chennai and then traveled north into Andhra Pradesh by car. One of our favorite places to work is at Somasila with Brother I. Naveen Kumar. There I met Rick Johnson, where we had one day of Bible classes together. After our classes, 5 precious souls were baptized into Christ. On February 8th, I went to Kondapalli to Grace Tailoring School, which was established by Susie Frederick and P. Mary. We now have a new teacher in the school. P. Mary is director, but Narmada is now the teacher. She's standing to the right of P. Mary. We gathered on the rooftop of the school, the rented place, for the graduation ceremony. I delivered a graduation message and then helped pass out the certificates to the graduates. Afterwards, many of the ladies showed their sample books. These are books that help them to remember what kind of patterns they had prepared during the school. Also, some of the ladies showed their work by letting their daughters model some of the dresses they'd made. This time we were able to provide 7 sewing machines to needy graduates of Grace Tailoring School. After the graduation ceremony at Grace Tailoring School, the lady in the middle here, Dinama, told us that she wanted to be baptized into Christ, so we rejoiced with her when she was baptized in the Krishna River. Today is February 17th, 2014, and we're at the home of Brother T. Anandarao and his family. This is Saguna, one of the daughters of Flemings and Bhavani, and she is cooking some chicken, frying some chicken, and it is so good. Smells good. Can you smell that?
On the left is Brother Chandra Mohan. He's a preacher in this area. And on the right is Elia. He has confessed Christ and is preparing to be baptized today. And also Jyoti Babu, he is on the right, and he's planning to be baptized. And on the left is Brother Saha Devidu, who came to interpret today.
పాప క్షమాపణ నిమిత్తం నీకు ఈ బాప్టిజం ఇవ్వడం జరుగుతుంది.
రక్షకుడనుచు అక్షయుని చాటిరి దూతలు గల్లలకు రక్షకుడనుచు అక్షయుని చాటిరి దూతలు గల్లలకు.
Near the end of the India trip, I flew to Aurangabad to work with Brother Timothy Dongardeep. Brother Timothy Dongardeep is seated in the front. Behind him is his oldest son, Yeshudas, and then to the right of Yeshudas is Lucas. They translate many of our articles into the Marathi language and publish them for people in Maharashtra state. Brother Dongardeep made the arrangements for Bible classes at a meeting hall in Aurangabad. In Aurangabad, 10 were baptized into Christ.
मंडळीसमोर पिता पुत्र आणि पवित्र आत्मा यांच्या नावामध्ये आम्ही तुमचा बाप्तिस्मा करत आहोत. पुढे पुढे मागे मागे जरा मागे बसा खाली.
Today is March 7th, 2014. We're at Ratchapalam, and we've opened the building that was provided by Pajarito, the building without walls. The preacher is Brother Victor Babu on the left. On the right is his wife Esther, and to her right is their older daughter Mercy, and then to her right is their next daughter Jennifer. And she wants to be baptized tomorrow or Sunday? Tomorrow, I think? Tomorrow. She wants to come to Madarapakam and be baptized. And then there's Jacqueline in the front.
We've been waiting a long time to open the building at Arani. They wanted to get all their walls done first, which they did, and we had a very good opening worship service, and 3 obeyed the gospel that day.
இயேசு கிறிஸ்து தேவனுடைய குமாரன் என்று விசுவாசிக்கிறேன். அவர் என்னுடைய பாவங்களை நீக்கி பிதா குமாரன் பரிசுத்தாவின் நாமத்தில் ஞானஸ்நானம் அளிக்கிறேன்.
This was on my last Sunday in India, the day before I went to the airport to come home. And so it was really a special day for them and for me. In the distance is the southern tip of Greenland. I enjoy seeing some very special parts of God's creation while I'm in the air, but the best part is getting on the ground again at home. Thank you for so much prayer and help in doing the Lord's work and helping many souls in India. It is such a joy to be in India, to be with the people there, and to see how they receive the love of God and the message of the cross. I want to remind you some things first of all, and then we have an invitation thought. We've mentioned in the bulletin, but we want to remind you about next Sunday. There is a special day of commitment, missions commitment, and we have some commitment cards. If you might look at the end of the pew where you're sitting, and you could take one of these home to help you, remind you to think about and prepare and pray about the amount that you could give next Sunday, or the amount that you could commit for the year. Then on next Sunday, you can bring that back. We ask you we've designed this so that you can take one half of it to keep for your reminder, put it on your refrigerator or something. I don't know where you'd want to keep that, and then turn in the other part next Sunday. Please notice the instructions at the bottom of the card. If you're making a cash or check contribution on April 6th, please do not include that on this card, because the card is for the commitments for the year, the planned giving for the future during the year. But of course, if you want to do all of your giving next Sunday for the year, or the main part of it, then that's a great boost to us too. We hope that you'll help us to get a real good start toward the goal of $47,400 for missions for 2014. We do plan to make those cards available next Sunday as well. Next Sunday there is the fellowship meal then. Enchilada lunch will be provided. The fellowship committee is doing that, and you're asked to bring side dishes and desserts, and your coin banks if you've been collecting those coins, or if you want to gather up some. And then during the Coins for Christ next Sunday, instead of going to the children's education, the coin banks and the kids' coins will go toward the missions fund. Please pray for the success of our missions commitment day. It's a big day for us as a missions committee, because we base our planning primarily on that first boost for the year, and it really means a lot that you give so generously to help in that work. And you've also given very generously for Eastern European Mission last year as well. One of the things that I like to talk about in India is power. I go as a weak person. I go as a frail individual. We're all so frail. We're all so vulnerable in this world. But when I go out to people in villages, I see a lot of people who are living just from day to day, one meal at a time, and they feel very vulnerable and powerless. And one of the things I like to talk about is the fact that you have power. I know sometimes we don't feel very powerful, and we're not in so many ways. But then think about how God made such a powerful sun that sends out its radiation in all directions, and we get just a tiny, tiny, tiny portion of it, and yet it runs our world. It provides the heat for us, it provides the light to grow things, it provides the lifting of the moisture out of the oceans, and even brings the moisture and the rain over land for us. It is such a source of enlightenment as well, because we can see each other, we can see colors, we can see to read God's Word because of the light of the sun. The sun is very, very powerful, but you have a power, and I like to tell the people in India this, you have a power that the sun does not have. The sun cannot love God. The sun cannot decide to follow God's will. The sun cannot decide whether or not to please God and live with God or turn away from Him. You have the power to touch the heart of God. In Luke 15, we read about the prodigal son, and we read two other kind of parables and metaphors before that about the fact that there's rejoicing in heaven over one sinner that repents. You know, we should want to obey the gospel because and walk with God because we want to get into heaven. That's a valid reason. And we should want to do right because we want to escape punishment. That's a valid reason. God gives us those reasons. But there's a higher and greater and deeper reason. We should want to do right, obey the gospel and do the will of God because we care about God's heart. Because our lives touch His heart. We touch Him with sorrow and grief when we sin, when we wander away. We touch Him with joy and rejoicing. Can you imagine that you and I, as frail as we are, bring a shaking to heaven, a smile to the face and the heart of God? In Luke 15, when He told about the prodigal son, Jesus told about the father running to meet the son, anxious to forgive the son and to bless him and bless him abundantly. That's what God wants for us. He's anxious to run to us. You have the power to touch the heart of God. You are important to God. And today, if you have been falling down on your commitment to the Lord in your heart and in your life, we hope you'll realize how it touches the heart of God. And if you haven't come to be baptized into Christ, to put on the Lord in baptism and to walk with Christ, we hope that you'll realize your life is touching the heart of God now in a negative way, but can bring such rejoicing to heaven today. If you have either need, we invite you to come while we sing.